My unfaithful spouse destroyed our relationship. So my wife, who's 37, started a new job about 4.5 months back, and she's been making some new friends along the way. As a 36-year-old guy, I wasn't really a fan of them. They were all intense advocates for feminism, always playing the victim and embodying that social justice warrior vibe. There are women who will get upset if you hold the door open for them, or maybe just leave it closed for them. You're stuck no matter what you choose. At first, I found it kind of amusing, but over the past couple of months, I've started to notice some unsettling changes in my wife. We've been together for 11 years and have 2 children, a 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. It just kept escalating. She would throw all sorts of wild accusations at me, claiming I was inherently bad just because of the historical oppression of women by men. Wait, what? No matter what I did for her, the things she usually appreciated suddenly became reasons to argue. It was completely absurd. I try to stay calm, but these discussions often wrap up with me saying something like, "But I haven't done anything wrong to you. The only thing I'm guilty of is having feelings for you." It would typically leave her whispering. So the following day, she'd return, attempting the same approach, but with a few tweaks to her arguments. So like 5 weeks ago, I suddenly had this intense gut feeling that something was really off. She rolled in late at night without a heads up, and I couldn't get through to her on the phone. She seemed pretty drunk and was acting all distant and cold. The following day, she would brush me off and claim I was being controlling, insisting that I was overanalyzing everything. This occurred a couple more times. I attempted to check her phone, but I couldn't find anything concrete. Still, I had a feeling she had erased a bunch of her messages. I came across a discussion where one of her new friends was talking about how she might bring up the idea of an open relationship with me. I instantly recognized what my gut was saying. She was definitely cheating. In the discussion, my wife mentioned she would chat with me about it on what is now the second Monday of December. My kids are hanging out with their grandparents for Christmas, and we were supposed to join them today. So she just randomly decides to kick off this conversation during breakfast, like it's totally out of nowhere. "So you're curious about my thoughts on open relationships, huh?" Good thing I was ready. I had the camera rolling already. I had been browsing a ton lately, and I realized there's just no way to salvage this situation. Honestly, my ideal scenario is just to walk away from this with at least a bit of pride and self-esteem left. From this point forward, my focus is solely on safeguarding myself and the kids. I didn't raise my voice or make a scene. I just shifted straight into a focused, intense questioning mode. She was full of herself until that moment, but it vanished the instant she caught the expression on my face. "Who is this guy? Wait, what do you mean by that?" Acts all sweet and clueless, playing the innocent card. If you want to have this conversation with me, just don't talk down to me and be straightforward, okay? If you're not going to be straight with me, then what's the point of even talking? Wait, what are you trying to say? If you choose to lie to me now, we won't be able to have the conversation you want about our relationship. It's pretty clear that you're keeping something under wraps. So who's the dude you're seeing? I am not her. Whoa, hold up. There's not just one of them. Not happening, me. Seriously, just don't lie. You've completely shattered my trust in you. It's pretty obvious you're not being truthful. It's simple. We either have an open and honest conversation about this, or I'm out. We're done here. No debates, no conversations, just final. Just divorce. Do you get it? She, though, just say it. Come on. Are you following me? Just so we're clear, if you decide to lie, I'm going to file for divorce. Just go ahead and say it. Are you aware that I'm already pretty knowledgeable? I can totally see right through you. If I find out you're not being honest, that's it for us. Just let me know you get it. I get it. She goes on to share details about 2 one-night stands from a night out with her friends. I asked for their names, whether they're married, if she used protection, and it turns out both are married guys with kids. So she drops this bomb on me about wanting to hook up with a coworker, saying it's for her own good and that I have no say in it. Like, what the heck? I also inquire about the colleague and find out his name. His wife's name. He's married, but she claims they're in an open relationship, just like she wants us to be. She says she's going to introduce me to some of her friends, and apparently one of them is really interested? What in the actual heck? I've come across this friend, and honestly, I wouldn't go near her with a 10-foot pole. I've made it clear that I'm not interested. I request her phone and she reveals the pattern to unlock it. As she headed to the bathroom, I made a quick escape to my office and locked the door behind me. She totally lost it, and while she was pounding on the door, I decided to run some recovery software on the phone to dig up deleted stuff. Half an hour later, I was hit with a ton of painful evidence. I went ahead and set up a tracking app from a website I found. I handed her the phone and told her to get out when I came out. She went on, and I just gave her one-word replies. She appeared completely unrepentant during the whole situation, shouting at me that I was being controlling, claiming I was holding her back like men have always done to women, that I never cared for her, that she was totally justified in doing this, that she thought I would just roll with it, that it wasn't anything major, and so on. I just kept quiet, barely uttering a single word. I packed her things while she was pacing around and shouting at me. I found myself at the front door just standing there quietly until she finally ran out of steam. Ultimately, she gave in and headed over to her parents' place. As she was heading down the stairs, I mentioned that she was single now, so she could do whatever she pleased. I wasn't trying to control her anymore. My lawyer will reach out in January. As she started to reply, I quickly shut and secured the door. I ended up seeing her chat about it with her friends later on. They were hyping her up, saying how powerful she was for standing up for what she deserved, insisting she was worth so much more than me. So you think I'm just making empty threats, huh? You really want to test that theory? What really freaked me out was when they said she could just throw around accusations of abuse against me if she wanted to. One of them shared how she had totally messed over her ex-husband and taken everything from him by throwing around accusations of abuse. I just ordered some cameras for my house, and I realized I need to capture everything that happens. I seriously couldn't wrap my head around what I was witnessing. I've never once threatened her in any manner. So she hit up her AP to arrange a meet. They decided to meet at a hotel, and I was totally blown away. I hit the web looking for the AP's wife, and it didn't take much time at all. I managed to get her to add me as a friend on Linkspace, and I spilled the beans about everything, including what's been happening at the hotel. She expressed her gratitude and ended the call. A couple of hours later, I received a video from her. She showed up at the motel and called them out. Clearly, this wasn't the first time her husband had strayed, judging by the yelling. "You absolute jerk. Are you really going to pull this on me again? Back to the kids, huh? I warned you that we were done if you pulled this again. You hash currency, percentage, currency," and she strolled into the room and started recording my wife as she got dressed. On the edge of the bed, I felt sick when I saw that for the first time. The AP's wife gave her a slap and let loose with some harsh words. I shot a message to my wife saying I caught the video from the hotel and I never want her around me again. It feels like she views our exchanges as a contest to see who's better. In her mind, she's totally crushing it. Is she seriously out of touch with reality? I'm totally lost on this. It's as if she's totally out of touch with what's actually going on. It's like she just doesn't get that we're going through a divorce. I hopped onto my wife's family quick talk group and let them know that we're getting a divorce because of her cheating. I expressed my gratitude for their warm welcome and for making me feel like part of the family before I left the group. I've gotten a couple of calls and messages from her, but I haven't bothered to read or reply to them. I'm just not feeling up to it. I reached out to my folks and filled them in on everything. My dad texted my wife saying she's not invited for Christmas. I'm at my parents' place right now, and I had a chat with my boss. He's letting me take time off until mid-January to get everything sorted out. I've been keeping an eye on my wife's increasingly frantic chats with her new friends. It seems my wife hasn't fully grasped that she's lost her family, that her marriage is finished, and that her new friends and her affair partner don't genuinely care about her. She's bombarded me with messages and even showed up at my parents' place, insisting on being included in our Christmas celebration. My dad said he would call the cops if she didn't get out. I'm currently searching for divorce lawyers while feeling completely heartbroken. I feel like I've been in it doing, but the pain really struck me as soon as I arrived at my parents' place. I'm totally lost on this. Reading their chats and interacting with her is just so painful for me. I've only replied to her messages twice. 1, honestly, it doesn't really matter what you say. I have no clue who you are. You're definitely not my partner. My partner would never shatter my heart and soul with a smile on their face. We're going to end our marriage. Your opinions and desires don't matter to me. Your influence and right to make demands from me are completely gone now. It's done between us. 2, look, as I mentioned, you're not my wife, and I don't really know you. My wife would never put our kids through the heartache of growing up in a dysfunctional family. It looks like you're really feeling good about your achievements, huh? My wife was everything. Loving, caring, considerate, my best friend. You, on the other hand, are just a self-obsessed, self-absorbed abomination. The message is just kind of dried up after that last one. The struggle is real, and honestly, it feels like it's too much to handle sometimes. I just wish things could go back to how they were, but I know I can't put myself through that again. This Christmas is just the worst. I ended up telling the kids that their mom doesn't want to be a family anymore, that she wants to be with other men, and that we're getting a divorce. They're totally upset about it. Thank goodness my parents are around to lend a hand. They give them all the love and attention, and here I am, just a total wreck. I'm determined to pick myself up for my kids, but there's no way I'm going back to her. I really should have held off until after Christmas to get them started in counseling right away. I honestly have no clue what went down. I just kind of said it without thinking when they were asking about when their mom would show up. There's no way I could face myself in the mirror if I went back to her. The disrespect and callousness in her behavior are just beyond what I can accept. I'm totally confused right now, like, what is going on? What makes her think she can just ask for anything from me right now? Is she dealing with some kind of mental issue or what? Apologies for the rambling, I just had to vent a bit. Edit. I've come to terms with the monitoring situation after chatting with a lawyer that a friend recommended. The phone belongs to me, and the subscription is also under my name. My wife is using it, but it's technically mine. So I've got the subscription, and I'm all good with that. There's nothing wrong with keeping an eye on my own gear. Update 1, my wife's infidelity has completely shattered our family and ruined Christmas. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? Wow, it's been a wild ride since my last update. So much has gone down, and I wish I could say I played a part in it, but honestly, I've just been a total wreck since my last update. I found myself really fixated on my wife's conversations with her friends. There were some truly wild and painful things being said in those chats. What really hit me hard was when my soon-to-be ex-wife used such harsh words to describe how her marriage, and more importantly, her children, felt like a burden in her life. They held her back from becoming the successful woman she was meant to be, stifling her full potential. She talked about how I, as her husband, was a suffocating presence that prevented her from enjoying a fulfilling life. Her family was the reason she couldn't achieve a successful career, engaging in plenty of casual relationships and whatnot. I just hit my breaking point. I couldn't take it anymore. I dedicated around 30 hours to meticulously going through every single line of emails and chats, reading and rereading them endlessly. Looking back, she really didn't give any specifics on how we were supposed to be burdens or oppressors. It was all just vague claims without any examples or solid reasoning. Honestly, I've never held her back from anything. I cover almost all the expenses, and the little she makes from her part-time gig wouldn't really support anyone, to be honest. I've backed her hobbies, dreams, and aspirations, even when she kept getting those ridiculous Fs in class, dropping out halfway through every time. I always made it a point to express my love for her daily and to acknowledge all the things she did for our family. I'd totally sweep her off her feet, plan some awesome dates, and always have her back whenever she needed support. If this is what oppression looks like, then sign me up for some of that, please. Anyway, I got sidetracked. At one point, while reading, I totally zonked out. When I woke up, my 3 best friends were in the kitchen with my dad, whipping up dinner. I've known these dudes since I was a kid. Let's just say their names are Jason, Kevin, and Daniel. My dad had invited them over and filled them in on everything. I ended up breaking down again and was totally out of it until Friday evening. Jason is a veteran who lost his left arm below the elbow. We were totally there for him during his recovery when his wife just up and left. Thank goodness they were child-free. Jason's been doing pretty well since he adopted 2 kids and found himself a great girlfriend a few years back. He arranged a Zoom call with his counselor, who supported him during his recovery journey. He really helped me grasp what I was going through emotionally. Even though his focus was on amputees, he shared how, unfortunately, many wives tend to leave when their husbands get hurt. His stories and examples were super helpful for me, honestly. He wanted me to recognize that a significant part of my soul identity and spiritual self is intertwined with my marriage and my role as a husband. That part is gone now, and just like someone who has lost a limb may experience phantom pain, I will feel a lingering ache from the part of my identity that is no longer there. We chatted for hours, and I've been making consistent progress ever since. Kevin works at Orion Solutions in an executive role, but he keeps details about his job pretty much to himself. Honestly, I have no clue what his actual responsibilities are, but he definitely seems to be doing well for himself. So Kevin reached out to this law firm that the company has on retainer, and there I was on Sunday morning, chatting with a lawyer I never thought I'd even get the chance to speak to, let alone afford. Kevin has always been a massive geek and faced a lot of bullying. He said not to stress about the bill. He'd take care of it. He was just glad to finally repay me for all those times I took a beating for him when he was dealing with his bullies. Daniel teaches at a private school for kids and is married with a whopping 7 children. That's right, my kids totally adore him and his whole family. Daniel has been looking out for my kids and making sure they're taken care of while I work on getting my life back on track. Yesterday was super chaotic. It kicked off with an STD screening bright and early. The BIH got me infected with chlamydia, just got another screen in half a year. F and %E currency hash. My self-pity party turned into a full-on rage fest when I discovered what happened. That's all she wrote for me. Lights out, total control. I won't give her a dime if I can avoid it. The lawyer was able to locate the ex-husband of my wife's feminist friend who boasted about how she had taken advantage of him. It seems like it was super straightforward based on the court documents. Honestly, that never even crossed my mind. I chatted with him on Quick Talk, and he expressed his gratitude a ton. He shared all the crazy stuff this harpy put him through. I've got a clear idea of what to anticipate from my STD XW. It was absolutely disgusting. I was totally geared up for a showdown. After our discussion, I'm gearing up for battle. It was truly gut-wrenching to hear about his struggles with homelessness and the fact that he hadn't seen his kids in 4 long years. Everything is just a result of the falsehood spun by his ex-wife. I recognize that I face challenges as a man within the court system. I'll gather a mountain of proof. My lawyer recommended taking action with a restraining order because of her negative remarks about men, particularly for the well-being of our son. Growing up in a home with a parental figure who openly expresses anti-male sentiments is clearly quite harmful. I'm pursuing full custody. I let the lawyer know to proceed, and she anticipates that the restraining order will be served today. I had a Zoom call with my STD XW, and just to note, she hasn't contacted me at all since that time she came over to argue with my dad. She hasn't bothered to contact the kids or anyone else, so it's clear she doesn't care about any of us. The call was totally wild. She was decked out and showing off some serious cleavage. Clearly, she was putting in the effort to look her absolute best. It's been ages since I've seen her look that glamorous. During the whole chat, she was clearly trying to provoke me, aiming to get a rise out of me. I stayed calm. My attorney had prepped me on what to request. It seems like making an effort for an amicable divorce before going for a contested one is viewed quite positively. I was being recorded, and I even mentioned it to her. Still, STDXW was pretty solid. She kicked things off with this ridiculous claim about there being 2 kinds of penises. Is there one that stays about the same size, regardless of whether it's erect or not, and the other kind that changes size depending on whether it's up or down? What on earth? Seriously, who starts a conversation with their husband in that way? She pondered how excited she was for the current restrictions to lift so she could go out and explore this further in person. I just said I wasn't into her hobbies. I was just looking to talk about our divorce. She became really aggressive when I didn't fall for her trap and react with anger like she was hoping for. There was this moment when she said she was heading to the bathroom and then hit the mute button. Then I saw her chatting with her friends about what they could do with me. She went off on me for no reason other than my gender multiple times. During the call, I couldn't shake the odd impression that she viewed this as some kind of game. It felt like she had all the power, and I was left with no choice but to accept whatever she decided, just going along with it all. We didn't make any headway on our divorce, so I figured, fine, let's go for a contested divorce then. Just so you know, I found out I have chlamydia, and I haven't been with anyone else, so it's on you. You should probably head to the clinic. She just gave me this look like, yeah, I totally don't believe you. I honestly have no clue what's happening with her, and honestly, I'm over it at this point. I sent the recording to the lawyer, and she was totally taken aback, to put it mildly. At this point, it seems like everyone believes my wife has lost her mind. Could it be that she is? Since I have ownership of her phone and the subscription, I can definitely utilize the chat logs in court. Looks like I can keep an eye on my own device as much as I please, and it's totally within the law. Following our call, there was a whirlwind of chatter among the harpies, but I managed to set it aside at last. I don't care anymore about what they say. My lawyer seems pretty sure we're going to come out on top, unless there's something I've left out. So here we are. It still stings, but I guess I can just think of it as phantom pain now. I've stopped wallowing in self-pity, and I'm ready to go all in, no holding back. I have to look out for myself and my kids. I'm doing well, and my kids are going to be okay. I'll ensure they have access to therapy whenever they need it. My soon-to-be ex will soon fade into the past, and I'm ready to start crafting a new and improved life for myself. Edit. Just discovered that she was aware of the chlamydia and got treated, but chose not to inform me. Bit HFCK. She was totally joking and having a blast with her new friends about it. FK. Update 2. My wife's infidelity has completely shattered our family and ruined Christmas. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? I often hear things like, I'm strong, or somehow coming out ahead, or winning in some way. Looking back at my posts, I realize that my frustration with the situation comes through, making me appear confident and assertive. Honestly, that's just not the case. I really wish this had never gone down. I really wish my family was whole again, and I could look forward to a long, easygoing life with my wife while the kids grow up and begin their own journeys. It's a total mess right now. My wife has completely lost it, and everything is just going up in flames. I'm really confused about her situation. She won't go see a doctor for what might be mental health issues, and she just acts like everything is fine. She continues to show no remorse or regret, acting as if I'm the unreasonable one for not just going along with whatever she desires. It's been frustrating to see how little she's engaged with the kids since that day. I'm going through with the divorce, taking steps to separate our lives because I've got two to manage now. Her actions have pushed me to a point of no return, and at this stage, there's no going back. I really wish this didn't have to happen. I'll never be able to trust her again, and it tears me apart every night as I lie awake, mourning my loss and the reality that my kids will have to grow up in a fractured home. It really hurts to see that my kids in real life don't have a good relationship with their mom anymore. Got a question? What's the best way to respond to this question from your kid? Why doesn't mom want to hang out with me anymore? Isn't she into me? Seriously, how do you even respond to that? If anyone has the answer, please share, because I'm completely lost here. Each morning I remind myself that my heart is already in so many shattered fragments that it can't possibly endure any more pain. Just getting called out left and right, day in and day out. My wife either has no idea that I'm keeping tabs on her messages, or she just isn't bothered by it. She firmly believes that I'm completely committed to her and thinks my response to her actions is totally unwarranted. She won't stop trash-talking her friends. Let me share a bit about myself, my relationship, and our kids. I seriously can't wrap my head around why she has such a strong dislike for us. We totally haven't done any of the stuff she's claiming we did to her friends. Just to reiterate, my lawyer secured a temporary restraining order against her. So there was a hearing yesterday morning, and since no new direct threats popped up, they didn't extend it. My lawyer recommended leveraging the fact that she knowingly infected me as a way to pressure her into agreeing to an uncontested divorce. I really hope we can part ways in a fair manner. It's frustrating to feel like I have to view her as an adversary and constantly expect the worst from the situation. If she wanted to break things off, I could accept that. But why put me through this really confrontational situation? What's up with her trying to hurt the people who cared about her the most? It's like she's going out of her way to make it worse. What could she possibly gain from this? I'm looking for some thoughts on this. Any help would be great. I just can't wrap my head around it. If I end up in court, it looks like I might have to shell out a lump sum for her share of the equity in our house and other stuff. I'm feeling pretty confident that I won't have to pay alimony, And since she seems disinterested in the kids, I'm optimistic about my chances of winning custody if it ends up in court. So, my lawyer thinks we should aim for her to agree to an amicable divorce. I'm on board, and we're set to meet with my soon-to-be ex-wife and her rep, hopefully this week. The ex-husband, who got played by the deceitful Harpy, is ringing in New Year's Eve with me and the kids. The way the justice system treats fathers is absolutely outrageous. I'm not expecting to get a fair shake if this ends up in court. His ex totally fabricated stories, and the court just accepted them as the truth. Absolutely no evidence at all. Since then, he barely sees his kids, and the outrageous alimony and child support payments have pretty much shattered him. He's been seriously considering calling it quits for good. Armed with the fresh evidence I provided, he's feeling a surge of renewed hope. We both chat with my lawyer, and she recommends that he holds off on the evidence until the meeting with my wife and her attorney. If he makes a move now, it'll reveal that we're aware of all their communications. My lawyer is all about getting me and my wife divorced quickly and without any hassle. At this point, I'm just wishing for a way out. If she chooses to put up a fight, it could stretch on forever. It's really getting to me. I just want to break free. I'll keep you all posted if I manage to get a meeting or if we jump straight into a court dispute. Update 3. My wife's infidelity has completely shattered our family and ruined Christmas. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? Unfortunately, the strange scenario persists. Had my meeting with the lawyer and my soon-to-be ex-wife yesterday afternoon. She arrived half an hour late, didn't have a lawyer with her, and insisted that she neither has one nor needs one. Instead, she showed up with one of her new Harpy buddies, restricted until the hearing concludes. My lawyer laid down some serious rules on how I should act. I was supposed to keep my cool and not respond negatively to anything they said. If someone reached out to me, I was supposed to reply in a chill way or with a positive vibe if possible. If my lawyer laid one of her hands flat on the table, I knew I had to stay silent. So they arrived fashionably late. Definitely no masks, right? The Harpy, all filtered and stuff, just can't help but throw shade and get under my skin in every way possible. My soon-to-be ex-wife does the same. My lawyer is pushing to kick off the conversation about our divorce. They're just messing with each other. They found their own jabs at me pretty hilarious. It was super cringy to watch. It's obvious at this point, my wife still thinks this is just a trick. There's just no chance I can go through with a divorce from her. In her view, the power to end our marriage rests solely with her, and only if she chooses to do so. If she goes through with it, she'll end up with it all. I just sat there thinking, what the heck? What's happening? I didn't really contribute anything meaningful. I just chimed in a couple of times with responses like, yeah, you might be right, or I'm not really sure. Eventually, they started to lose momentum, and my lawyer caught wind of it, moving ahead with the proposed settlement for a friendly divorce. Right off the bat, she mentioned how I was ready to be generous to wrap things up quickly and peacefully. I'd be willing to give her a hefty sum of $60K for her share in the house investments and other related assets. My lawyer barely got through the sentence when my soon-to-be ex-wife started getting all hyped up with her friend who just can't help but chime in. Prodded by the terrifying Harpy beside her, STBXW asked where she needed to sign. My lawyer kept asking if my soon-to-be ex-wife was interested in reviewing the rest of the agreement first. But nope, my soon-to-be ex-wife was eager to sign immediately. She began discussing when she might get the money and mentioned that they had to head to the pub. My lawyer pulls someone aside, whispers a few words, and suddenly everything goes into overdrive. An older woman requested our identification documents, and we were asked to sign 2 copies. After we finished, the old lady stamped it, and I later discovered she was a notary. My lawyer, practically at her wit's end, thanked my STBXW and the Harpy, declaring that we were finished. They just left, and my wife didn't even take her copy of the agreement with her. She just left it there on the table, and my lawyer glanced at her flat hands before turning to me. Clearly, she was not keen on me speaking up while they were inside the building. As we spotted them making their way across the parking lot, my lawyer turned to me and said, "Congratulations." She went on and on about how this was the weirdest session she had ever experienced for a negotiated divorce. She mentioned that she would forward my STBXW's copy to her after we have a hearing in front of the judge, or if she gets a lawyer who requests it. Until then, it's just gathering dust in my lawyer's drawer. It seems that at first glance, This divorce might not be as tough as I initially expected. Your soon-to-be ex-wife still has the option to get a lawyer and challenge this situation. My lawyer said she would pull every string she could think of to get me a hearing with a judge ASAP. Most likely, it'll be a video call. I took the advice I received and hired a private investigator. He managed to capture photos of my wife kissing two different guys at two separate bars yesterday, and she even went to a hotel with one of them. I've got a ton of evidence ready to go if I need it. Just crossing my fingers that it'll be enough if it comes down to it. My wife agreed to grant me full custody with just a one-time payment. Just $60K and I'm out. No spousal support or anything else. Freedom feels good. All right, I've got a plan. Now I just need to figure out the funding. So Kevin said he would cover the whole amount if I needed it. I can't shake the feeling that this isn't real. I half expect her to show up as my fierce lawyer, ready to throw accusations of molestation and domestic abuse at you like it's nothing. My lawyer advised me to stay under the radar, cover my usual expenses, and avoid causing any disturbances whatsoever. Just a heads up, it's best to avoid chatting with anyone we both know. Just chill and hang tight. Just stay quiet and do nothing until the hearing, pretty much. All that's left is to chill and keep my fingers crossed for a good outcome. Update 4. My wife's infidelity has completely shattered our family and ruined Christmas. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? So yesterday was the hearing, and I'm pretty much officially divorced now. It's going to be a solid 4-6 months before the paperwork is all squared away. But honestly, at this stage, there's really nothing anyone can do to flip the script. The only way forward is if my wife and I tackle this together. I'm really exhausted right now. I haven't slept in what feels like ages. So if I'm a bit scattered, I apologize. I really just have to let this all out. I need to vent a bit. Fingers crossed I can catch some Z's once I get this typed up. My amazing lawyer scored me an early hearing just 12 days after I submitted the paperwork. There's no question she pulled some strings for this one. I've totally lost my focus. The chaos from the weekend until now has been wild. So, Friday morning, a ton of cops showed up at my door with a warrant to search the place. I was super confused and really worried about the kids, so I asked if I could take them outside while they handled their search. Glad they were on board with that. I didn't get a lot of info, but I did manage to grab a copy of the warrant. Honestly, I was so rattled that I couldn't wrap my head around it. Looks like those who suggested my ex-wife's actions might be linked to substance issues were onto something. It's definitely a contributing factor here. The police came in and totally wrecked my place. I reached out to my lawyer and she had a chat with them, but since the warrant was legit, there wasn't much that could be done right then. I didn't really consider it at the time, but now I've got cameras set up all over the place, just in case I end up getting falsely accused. I've got video and audio of everything, so I might be able to make a claim later if I decide to. Honestly, I'm not sure I have the energy or motivation for that. I might just brush it off and keep going. Back then, I had no idea that my ex and her 3 wild friends took my car for a joyride while they were high and drunk, only to smash it into a house at full speed. They got arrested, every single one of them was drunk, and they all had drugs on them or in their possession. They took quite a hit from the crash. The passenger is in really bad shape, and there's uncertainty about her survival. The main harpy will refer to her as Vanessa. She's the one who boasted about deceiving her ex-husband and pulling a fast one in court. We'll refer to her former spouse as Robert. Robert and I have become pretty tight, so I'll definitely reach out to him. Luckily, they didn't uncover anything during the search. I explained that my ex doesn't live here anymore. She's with her parents now, and I have no idea what she's up to. No, I definitely did not give Vanessa the okay to drive my car, and so on. As soon as I stepped back inside, I just lost it. The place was an absolute wreck. I suppose that was the final straw. All I could think to do was call my dad, who came to pick me and the kids up to stay with my mom. So Dad rallied a whole crew, 26 friends and family members in total. As I sat on the back porch, tears streaming down my face, I indulged in my mom's incredible comfort food. I'm just sitting here wallowing in self-pity while they went ahead and cleaned and fixed up my whole house. They tackled every last room, cleaned the clothes, scrubbed the dishes, polished the furniture, and even washed the ceilings and walls. It's seriously spotless now, and they took care of all the minor stuff, like those pesky loose door handles and whatnot. I seriously couldn't wrap my head around the fact that they would go out of their way to do something like that for me. I'm seriously at a loss for how I can ever make it up to them. I went from feeling completely hopeless to actually feeling pretty good over the weekend, all thanks to them. Authorities discovered additional drugs at Vanessa's residence and her boyfriend was absent. There was no babysitter present, leaving the kids unattended. The kids were taken by CPS, and Robert secured temporary emergency custody on Saturday after presenting the judge with the chat logs. Considering the neglect and the drug situation, he managed to secure custody pretty easily. Robert is absolutely thrilled. He hasn't had much time with the kids in the past 5 years. He was in the process of gathering funds to take on Vanessa legally when this situation arose. He's got to head to court to finalize everything. But honestly, the chances are looking pretty solid right now. It seems like everyone is convinced that Vanessa is facing some serious consequences. If her friend doesn't pull through, it might be time to get real. After that, he'll go for child support and seek compensation for all the nonsense Vanessa pulled. He's not really holding his breath on this one. Honestly, I feel like he's not interested in spending his time battling it out in court. He's all about being there for his kids and ensuring they have a great life. It's obvious that Vanessa has really dropped the ball when it comes to them. Kevin really came through and hooked Robert up with a rental apartment thanks to a friend. I've come to the conclusion that I really don't know much about Kevin's personal or work life at all. I'm planning to fix that. Well, here I go again, getting sidetracked. So Vanessa was just driving along and out of nowhere, she veered off the road and crashed right into a house. Wild, right? Everyone was pretty messed up. And given the circumstances, along with the booze and the drugs, search warrants were issued for all the residents. My ex still has her address listed as my place. I made the call on Sunday to sell this house and get out of here as soon as possible. I'm really worried this might happen again. So on Sunday, I get a call from her parents, and it turns out their house got searched too. After visiting their daughter in jail on Saturday, their trust in her has completely vanished. So here's the deal. They swung by on Sunday to chat, and guess what? She's been totally dishonest with them about everything. That night, she was out having a wild time and being unfaithful. She mentioned that she was with me and we were attempting to sort things out. They were completely clueless about what was really happening or what she had done to me and the kids. They were aware she had cheated, but they thought it was just a one-time thing that happened while she was drunk. That's pretty much what she said to them. So on Monday, my wife hits me up, trying to convince me to post bail. It's $15K, and her parents have already said no. So I had a chat with my lawyer, and she prepared some documents stating that the bail will be deducted from the settlement until she appears in court and the bail gets released. The deal had her mom listed as the one in charge of the leftover funds. My lawyer was adamant about ensuring my wife had no reason to skip the hearing, which is why she insisted I get her out. She didn't really have a choice, so she went ahead and signed. She got out on Monday afternoon. According to her parents, she straight up refused to follow the rules they set for her to keep living there. Expressions like quit using substances, enroll in treatment, embrace a transparent approach, cut ties with negative influences, and so on. So she just dips out of their place on Tuesdays to hang with her new crew. She totally ghosted the hearing, and after laying out all the evidence for the judge, including what went down over the weekend, I ended up winning full custody. The settlement aligns with the agreement we reached. It was super fast, just 30 minutes. But now it's going to take 4 to 6 months to get through the whole process, but honestly, it's over. At this point, it feels like there's not much that can be done to change the situation. So here we are today, and I just couldn't get any sleep. People were all around me, celebrating and acting like I had achieved something huge. But honestly, it really doesn't feel like I came out on top at all. This is really tough, but my love for my wife remains strong. I'm fully aware that it's done, and there's no turning back now. She was my best friend, my soulmate until recently. And even though it feels like my love for her has taken a serious hit, it's still hanging around, and it hurts like a total pain. In this situation, nobody comes out ahead. I lose, my wife loses, and my kids lose too. I honestly can't find the right words. It feels like I'm being expected to celebrate the fact that I've lost both my legs. So I ended up in a situation where one of my legs might get amputated below the knee, while the other one was already amputated above it. When folks give me props, it feels a bit like they're applauding me for managing to keep half a kneecap intact, while losing both my legs. I'm struggling to get any sleep, and when I finally doze off, I'm jolted awake by these awful nightmares that leave me soaked in cold sweat. Just venting a little, my apologies. So I just got a call from the hospital saying that my ex is in the hospital. I'm still listed as her emergency contact, and she's still covered under my health insurance. So there was a situation, and now she's dealing with some serious injuries, lost a few teeth, broken jaw, and they're keeping her for observation for a couple of days. I show up with her parents, and when we arrive, I find out that some of her new friends have really done a number on her. It turns out Robert has some chat logs from my wife's phone where Vanessa is boasting about what she did to him. They thought my wife had handed the logs over to Robert. They ended up beating her up and throwing her out. It's wild that she still doesn't get that I can keep an eye on her phone. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, paying for insurance, her phone and all that, until I actually have the papers in my hand. I just can't believe it until I see it right in front of me. She's got nothing left at this point and is wondering if she can come back home. I straight up told her there's no chance in hell. Her mom isn't handing over a dime unless she gets clean and maintains it for at least a year. They extended an invitation for her to stay with them under the same rigid conditions as before. If she doesn't accept, I really can't see how she's going to handle things. For the first time, I'm noticing a hint of regret from her since all this began, but it feels more like she's upset that she can't keep up with her wild antics anymore. She said, "I'm sorry I ruined everything, but I really doubt it's sincere." She barely made eye contact with me while I was around. It was painful to witness her in this state. I had this strong urge to look out for her. She's an adult, but her actions are reckless and unpredictable, and I have to look out for my kids. Other than that, she completely ignored the hearing and didn't even inquire about her critically injured friend. She just sat there looking visibly annoyed. I just can't wrap my head around this. She's really lost it all. She has completely wrecked her family and brought immense suffering to many. Seriously, what's the point? A thrill and a bit of casual intimacy? I'm going full-on no contact until she's been sober for a significant period. I just can't handle all this madness anymore. Update 5. My wife's infidelity has completely shattered our family and ruined Christmas. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? I've been getting a ton of messages asking for an update. I meant to share something yesterday, but honestly, I just didn't have the motivation. I'm feeling pretty down and completely drained. I barely catch any Z's, and when I finally doze off, it's always into a world of nightmares. Awesome news. His kids are improving, and my dad is a total legend. I honestly can't imagine life without him. This weekend, we hit up his Pine Creek Lodge for some skiing. Just him, me, and the kids. It was awesome. I pretty much have zero communication with my ex. I had a chat with one of her loud friends, the one that was in really bad shape. She woke up, but she's really not doing well. I spoke with her nurse, and she expressed disappointment that nobody had taken the time to check on her during her stay. Her family was contacted, and they just turned her away. I'm really concerned that the people who attacked my ex might come after me and the kids, so I reached out to the nurse to see if I could have a chat with her, and she said yes. I get that I probably shouldn't, but I felt compelled to ask her about what went down since my wife started working with them. She kicked things off by asking if I was interested in a BJ for $20. Well, that was totally smooth, right? I proposed giving her $50 in return for some intel instead. The Harpy friends are all heavy drug users, addicts. Vanessa pulled my wife into their crew despite the objections of the other two and managed to persuade her to experiment with drugs and join in on the partying. Vanessa is at the forefront of this situation, where they exchange sexual favors to fund their drug habits. They all talk a big game about empowerment and autonomy over one's own body. But as she said, it's all just a facade to shield our fragile egos. In reality, we end up selling ourselves for cash to fuel our drug habits. My wife fell for the nonsense first, and it wasn't long before she was hooked, just like everyone else. Once she got caught up in it, she eventually began selling herself to fund her drug habit. It's tough to accept that the person you cared for deeply has changed so drastically, all in the name of her addiction. It's pretty clear why her main focus was just on the cash at this point. According to her, it's mostly meth. She's been through so much, stolen from, cheated on, abused, and lied to. It's no wonder no one wants to be around her anymore. She casually mentioned, with no hesitation, how unfortunate she felt about still being alive. She's completely lost any sense of optimism for what's ahead. And honestly, without her makeup, she resembles a ghost. It was tough, man. Hearing her was just heartbreaking, and I ended up crying a ton for my wife's sake. I'm not defending her. She chose to get involved with this mess, and now she's facing the consequences. Looks like she's about to face the consequences. She filled me in on everything regarding the guys who took down my ex-wife. I'll circle back to this later. Vanessa's facing a slew of serious charges, including death threats, resisting arrest, drug possession, prostitution, drug trafficking, child abuse and neglect, DUI, property damage, and auto theft. She's been denied bail because they see her as a flight risk, so it looks like she's going to be out of the picture for a bit. I really hope she does. Before I dive in, I want to give a shout out to everyone who shared their experiences with dealing with addicts. Your insights mean a lot. People have been telling me that my ex could be in a really dark place now that everything is catching up to her. You were totally right. She was definitely trying to be weird on purpose. I had a chat with her dad about it ahead of time. There was definitely a solid possibility she could pull something off. We figured it would be a good idea to keep a close eye on her. Fortunately, she remains unaware that I have real-time access to her phone data. So there I am at the Pine Creek Lodge on Saturday, and I suddenly get a message from her. It comes off like a farewell message. She shares her struggles with addiction, the choices that led her to prostitution, the disappointment she feels towards herself, and how she plans to take the only path she believes is left for her, and so on. I quickly reached out to her dad, and since I have the mobile monitor, I also know where she is located. Her dad bolts out and discovers her passed out on a park bench. She gets rushed to the hospital and treated, but she's also really hypothermic. I can't even imagine the chaos that would unfold if he showed up just a bit later. Right now, she's on methadone, and her dad has officially taken on the role of her guardian. She's past the point of being able to refuse treatment. Her dad had her involuntarily admitted to a rehab facility, and she's set to undergo a sedated detox. Not sure when exactly, but it looks like it'll be happening this week. Her father got the position not because she was entitled to it, so she just left her kids behind. So it's totally fine to consider ending it, but if you abandon your kids, suddenly you're the irrational one? Makes sense, right? Well, at least I haven't managed to cancel her life insurance yet, so she'll be able to get the treatment she needs. I've told Marcus I'm willing to help out with the finances, but only if my ex doesn't find out about it. I've been really anxious that the guys who attacked my wife might come after me and the kids. Just a reminder, Robert brought chat logs to court that they think my wife provided to him. I had a chat with Robert, and he figured he'd take care of it since he got something out of the disclosure. I might have mentioned this before, but Robert is just this huge, grumpy guy who looks like a walking pile of meat. He spent his childhood on a farm, hauling things around since he was little, so now he looks like a hawk and could easily rip the average guy in half. He ducks under doorways, sporting a crew cut and a few facial scars. Let's just say he's pretty intimidating if you're not familiar with him. In truth, he possesses endless patience, a gentle demeanor, and a kind heart. I'm pretty sure he'll resort to force if he feels it's absolutely needed, but for him, that's more of a last option. So he headed over to the dude's place, which was honestly a total dump. He seized the two guys by the neck and informed them that Vanessa had shared the chat logs with him. Since they caused harm to someone he cared about, they were faced with a decision to make. Just go to the police with him and spill the beans about everything that happened with the assault. Or 2, confront him directly, and they better be ready for some seriously painful lasting injuries if they go with option 2. He shared with me that he expressed a lot of optimism about them going with option 2. Looks like they just couldn't make it to the police in time. I don't even stress about them anymore. Just scored a new apartment and I'm moving soon. Shout out to Kevin for coming through once again. Honestly, I'm feeling really down right now. It's weighing heavily on me. My friends and family are what motivate me, and I realize I have to remain strong for the kids. I feel a deep sadness for my ex. Even with all that happened, I have no regrets about marrying her. I still have feelings for her, but I realize that getting back together is not in the cards for us. She's changed so much, and there's just a lot of hurt between us now. Even with all the struggles lately, we really enjoyed a great life before this. I can't imagine my life without my kids, and I owe it all to her. There's nothing that could make me give them up. I get that it's going to be a tough road ahead, but I'm really hoping I have the strength to push through it. Interestingly, the revelation about my wife's addiction has actually aided my kids in coping with the situation. It's definitely simpler to discuss how mom is unwell and that her recovery is going to be a lengthy process. She still has feelings for them and all that jazz. Feeling pretty down and worn out at the moment, Robert's here with his kids, and it looks like we're about to dive into Madagascar 3. I'm focused on creating as many positive new memories as I can. Robert is on the same path, and it seems like our kids are thriving more than ever now. I believe we'll manage just fine. Thanks a ton, everyone, for all the support. I believe this will be my final post here. So the latest update is that my wife cheated, and now our family and Christmas are completely wrecked. What makes her think I should just accept her behavior? My ex passed away, which is really strange considering they were in rehab. Seriously, how did she even manage to get her hands on those drugs? It's like she managed to sneak them in without anyone catching on. But seriously, how did she pull that off? A doctor thinks she might have swallowed a bag or something similar, and that it could have burst inside her. I'm done posting and won't be responding to comments anymore. Thanks a ton to everyone who shared their awesome suggestions and comments.